So when you attack Syria, you need some sort of legal defense to do it. Now, I know in America nobody cares. We just start wars, you don't go get congressional authorization, etc. But if you start a war with no justification at all, it is a war crime, and you could have trouble with the United Nations at some point. It might hamper President Obama's vacation plans in Switzerland at some point, right? So he needs a technical, legal reason to be able to bomb Syria. Because he has said over and over again, even though we're going to bomb ISIS, ISIS is not an immediate threat to America. President Obama is on the record saying that multiple times. So they need a quote-unquote immediate threat. So right as we're about to bomb them, all of a sudden here comes this group, Khorasan, that nobody'd ever heard of. And guess what they are, guys? Turns out they're an immediate threat. Really? So let's look at the news reports before any doubt set in. As we're doing the bomb, oh, we got to bomb these sons of bitches. We're doing the bombings. Khorasan's super dangerous. Well, administration officials are going to talk to the Associated Press, and here's their reporting on that. While the Islamic State group ISIS, they say, is getting the most attention now, another band of extremists in Syria, a mix of hardened jihadis from Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, and Europe, pose a more direct and imminent threat to the United States, working with Yemeni bomb makers to target U.S. aviation. American officials say at the center is a cell known as the Khorasan Group, a cadre of veteran al-Qaeda fighters from Afghanistan and Pakistan who traveled to Syria to link up with the al-Qaeda affiliate there, the Nusra Front. So far, we got Yemeni bomb makers, we got pirates from the Caribbean, we've got guys who are going to Syria, we got the Nusra Front, we got al-Qaeda offshoot, we got guys more dangerous than ISIS. Oh my God, we better bomb them right away. All right, now, all of a sudden, after we do the bombings, after all this is reported in the headlines, they then whisper to the press, we didn't really mean it. Here, let me give you the quotes. Then CNN turns around a couple of days later. The official said the group posed an imminent threat, but another U.S. official later said the threat was not imminent in the sense that there were no known targets or attacks expected in the next few weeks. When there are no known targets or attacks, yeah, that would not be imminent. That would be the opposite of imminent. Okay? Richard Engel, who's actually a very good reporter, earlier had put out some reporting that he got from his sources inside the administration, like a lot of others did, saying, oh my God, this new group, this is what the government is talking about. And he now turns around and says, Syrian activists telling us they've never heard of Khorasan or its leader. We go to Andrew McCarthy. He's writing for the National Review here, but he's a former terrorism federal prosecutor. He says, you haven't heard of the Khorasan group because there isn't one. It is a name that the administration came up with, calculating that Khorasan had sufficient connection to jihadist lore that no one would call the president on it. Khorasan is something that they had roughly referred to in the area of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and it's not really a group per se, and it certainly isn't in Syria. And they figured people have heard of that before, so they'll let us give us a pass on it. Now you think, well, okay, well, I mean, Obama administration wouldn't do that. Well, let's go to former U.S. ambassador to Syria for the Obama administration, Robert Ford. Here's what he said. We use the term Khorasan inside the government. We don't know where it came from. All I know is they don't call themselves that. There's a guy from inside the Obama administration saying that's a term we use when we don't know who they are. There is no Khorasan. It's made up. We used it so we can turn around later and say, oh, everything we did was perfectly legal. This Khorasan group had a desire to attack us maybe 6 months from now, but don't worry about it. They were bad dudes, even though nobody calls them Khorasan and they're not really a group in Syria. Your government is lying to you.